Okay, this is the latest thing in news. I didn't even know it was the latest thing in news. I just came across it, man. I check out so many news clips, so many news ballots. It's just I'm a current events dude. I've been like that since I was like, as long as I can know, I had some type of interest, but it really took a turn when I was like 14. So, man, but this is like one of the craziest things I ever seen. I watched their let me show you their interrogations. Let me move this over so you can see their interrogation. If you see the guy with the little coat on, the suit coat in the interrogation room right there, that's him. That's one of them. That's the guy right here on the police screen to the left. And man, this is one of the wickedest things I ever seen. Just by the age of it, I'm gonna play it so y'all can hear it. But it's just blowing my mind because it's like, where did they even get this thought from to go along with what they decided to do? I understand one of them came up with the initial thought and what they had to when it came to the decision of, it just don't make no sense. But I'm gonna let y'all check it out.
Are the victims juveniles? Are the murderers are juveniles as well?
We see a lot of shocking cases, especially out of the Sunshine State of Florida. In this case, you have three very young suspects. At the time, one was 17, another one 16, and the youngest one was just 12 years old at the time of their arrest. All were arrested and charged with first-degree murder in connection to the murders of three other teens. But there's still so much more to this story.
Each and every one of them, in some shape or form, is associated with a gang.
I don't know why they say
Basically,
trying to blame it on gangs.
Simple terms, there is no honor among thieves. And at some point, these three individuals turned on our three victims and murdered them.
I'm Elizabeth Milner with Law and Crime. So you have three suspects and three victims, but it looks like one of the boys charged in the case won't even be going on trial. He went forward with a plea deal, but like with many deals, it comes with strings attached. We're going back to March of 2023 for this case. On March 30th, 16-year-old Layla Silvernail was found on the side of the road. She was rushed to a local hospital where she passed away from her injuries. Now, the following morning, deputies found another body, this one of 17-year-old Michael Hodo Jr. Then another body was found the following day, also of gunshot wounds, this one of 16-year-old Camille Quarles. All of their murders were connected, from what investigators say, but the details were pretty shocking.
As all of you are well aware, last Thursday, March 30th, we received a call near Forest Lakes Park, where our first victim, Layla Silvernail, was located suffering from a gunshot wound. She would later succumb to her injuries. The following morning, we responded to a location about a half a mile away and located a second victim, deceased.
This is like, this is some of the craziest.
On the side of the road from an apparent gunshot wound. Then on Saturday, April 1st, my deputies located Layla's car abandoned and partially submerged in a pond about 9 miles from the location where she was found. My investigators located the third victim inside of the car.
In the trunk, I think. Or just in the car.
And I'll go ahead and tell you because you've been asking me.
Here's how I got my team to use Monday Sales CRM and actually like it. Let me start by saying it's so easy to use that I won them over right away. Onboarding was seamless and
For specific details. She was located in the trunk.
Okay, that's all.
Now, I want to clear up before we get into those details. Based on the interviews, digital evidence from her phone, she was there of her own free will.
Marion County Sheriff Billy Woods kept it tight-lipped on who the third victim was during that press conference, but it was later revealed that it was 16-year-old Camille's body found in that trunk. Sheriff Woods said at the time investigators were quick to know who the suspects were. I mean, you can see two of the suspects on the screen at the press conference. But who are they? Well, a then 17-year-old Robert Robinson and a then 12-year-old Christopher Atkins. And then a 16-year-old Taj Bruton, who was actually on the run at the time the sheriff held this press conference.
The suspects were in the vehicle. This individual, who is a juvenile also, is who we're looking for. Now, I'm talking to the viewers. Some of you know him, you know where he is, and you need to turn him in. Now, I will get him. I will find him, and justice will be completed.
But the sheriff dropped a huge bombshell that all three teens, the victims included, were involved with robberies and burglaries, and that's not all.
Now, the investigators were able to determine that this group of juveniles were involved in committing burglaries and robberies, which they were referred to as a lick. Now, although we had out there that was gang related, we have nothing specific to say that it was any rivalry or anything to such that cause. But however, each and every one of them, in some shape or form, is associated with a gang.
What you mean? Like,
basically,
do we mean the victims too?
Simple terms.
Hold on, let's see if you're referring to the victims too.
Have nothing specific to say that it was any rivalry or anything to such that cause.
The other girl's in the trunk by her free.
But however, each and every one of them, in some shape or form, is associated with a gang. Basically, simple terms, there is no honor among thieves. And at some point, these three individuals turned on our three victims and murdered them. Two of them right there. They fled the scenes, but left a lot of evidence in their wake. Through the cooperation of the agencies that I previously mentioned and my office, we were able to begin compiling all of the evidence and finding these killers. Now, we were shocked and saddened by the violence, as all of my citizens, because we are shocked not only are the victims juveniles, but the murderers are juveniles as well.
So Taj Bruton was arrested by U.S. Marshals 2 days after that press conference. Then in May of that same year, all three were indicted by a grand jury. But let's get into what investigators revealed in the arrest affidavit, specifically Christopher Atkins. According to the document, a witness reported to deputies that a car struck his garage dumpster. As he walked to the dumpster, he saw Layla bleeding from her head. She was still breathing when she was discovered. Another witness, whose name was redacted from the report, also recalled hearing the sounds of 4 or 5 loud pops, which she believed to be gunshots. This witness said after hearing the pops, she looked out of her window and saw a 4-door sedan drive off, but slowly, and that's when the car collided into the dumpster. She said she saw someone run out of the front passenger seat, only noting whoever it was skinny and wearing a baseball cap, but whoever was driving the car took off again after being confronted. So Layla was shot, but her car was gone. Investigators say the final 2 license plate reader detections were consistent with Layla's car traveling to where her body was found and where Michael's body was later found. Because as we know, the next day he was found unresponsive in a ditch and a bunch of blood was near his head. Now, authorities saw drag marks. Michael was wearing gloves and a ski mask, and his clothes were saturated in blood. A lot of Michael's portion was redacted, even his name. We only know his name through reports after the fact. So the sedan the witness saw was found. It was found near the edge of some water. Evidence techs opened the trunk and saw a body. Camille's name was also redacted out of the report, but as we know from the sheriff, it was her body found in that trunk. Investigators say her body was partially decomposing. When they pulled her out of the trunk, she had a gunshot wound to her right temple with close-range powder burns. She was also shot in the stomach. A friend told police both Camille and Layla had been staying at her home for a couple of months. That friend said they made several stops in Layla's car on the day of the murders, and even went to hang out with Robert Robinson at his so-called trap house. They left because it wasn't air conditioned. That friend was later dropped off by Layla at her home, and Layla reportedly went to pick up the others. Both Robert and Christopher confessed to it.
There are two types of people who should avoid taking gabapentin for neuropathy.
I wonder why they turned on him. Was it because of the money, or it just don't make no sense? Let's slow that down. Still going too fast.
Anyone who wants to keep both legs healthy, anyone who refuses to be a prisoner.
What happened, that they were planning to rob someone for marijuana while car hopping. Robert claimed one of the victims, the affidavit didn't say which one, was directing Layla to a location where they could commit burglaries. Layla was doing a U-turn, and that's when she was shot and killed while at the wheel. So who shot who? Well, according to the arrest affidavit, Taj Bruton shot and killed Layla and Michael. When that happened, Christopher Atkins took off running when her car hit the dumpster. When he returned to the car, Taj allegedly then told the 12-year-old there was someone in the trunk of the car. And as you heard from the sheriff in that press conference, Camille was there by choice for some reason. Christopher allegedly told police that he was forced to shoot Camille by Robert, who allegedly said if he didn't do it, Christopher's whole family would be killed. He shot her, but didn't think that she was dead, so Robert finished the job. According to the report, Christopher didn't even know Layla, Michael, or even Taj prior to that day. But the three of them took Layla's car to the pond. With now Taj behind the wheel after dumping her body, they took Layla's car to the lake, dumped Michael's body in a ditch, then drove her car to a pond, and that's where the car was discovered with Camille still in the trunk. Now we're still years after that horrible, horrible crime. And the
She's beautiful. Pretty girl. It's fucked up. Let's see. Okay, I ain't seen him in the interview. The one all the way to the left. Now, I seen the one with this nappy hair over here. Here's the interview. It's like back and forth with the 12-year-old.
lake, dumped Michael's body in a ditch, then drove her car to a pond, and that's where the car was discovered with Camille still in the trunk. Now we're still years after that horrible, horrible crime, and the three teens are a little bit older, but they're still teenagers. Taj Newton is now 18, Robert Robinson is now 19, and Christopher Atkins is now 14 years old. While Robert and Taj await trial for the murder, Christopher took a plea deal. He still faces anywhere between 40 years to life in prison, but because of his age, will be eligible for parole after 25 years. But there's a huge stipulation. Christopher has to testify against his other co-defendants when they go on trial, which is supposed to happen this July. There is so much to break down in this case, so I'm joined now by trial attorney and federal litigator Alexis Rosenberg. Alexis, thank you so much.
I'm trying to, let me see. It don't make no sense though. Like the why. Let's see. Oh, okay. Why you showing Lil Wayne on this? Okay, let me get back to this.
For joining me today. Before we get into the plea deal, let's talk about the case overall. We have 6 teenagers, 3 are dead, the other 3 are murder suspects, murder co-defendants now, but what's your reaction to this case, especially seeing and knowing just how vicious it was?
It's a horrible situation. We can't get around that. We have 6 minors that, the allegations are that they went out to rob houses together, and 3 of them end up dead. It's very sad, with the youngest at the time being only 12.
Yeah, 12 years old, such a young age. Like, I just remember.
It's crazy. And then they made him shoot the girl that was in the trunk, and then she was in the trunk willingly on her own. Why? Why would you willingly go in the trunk? And it don't make no sense. And then I don't understand why they would even kill them. That's crazy. How you thinking about murder? I understand thinking about getting some money at that age. I was thinking about money and sex. That was it. Like, and clothes or something. You probably listening to music or wanting a car to drive, but my own transportation. But murder? I mean, you think about it here and there, you know what I mean? Not actually going through with it, but you think about it's just to actually do it and then do it with some other cats. And then he was persuaded to do it to some people he didn't even know.
Being 12 and, it's completely different, just my experience versus what this defendant's experience was.
Making a text-only design used to take hours of hard work trying to figure out how to get the right adjustment. With our simple one-click text transformations, you can turn a simple piece of text into a beautiful masterpiece. And then you can use our unique color and decoration techniques to make it even better.
Kittl is totally free to try, so click the link and make an account in a matter of seconds and test it out for yourself. With Kittl, you can
But what do you make of just authorities talking about, all the robberies that they were planning on committing that day, the burglaries that they were planning on doing? And in your opinion, is that something that you see often, maybe possibly particularly in Marion County? I know you're not from that area, but in that area specifically, what are your thoughts about that?
So what's come out is that at least the 3 that are, have been charged with the crime were part of a gang. There are some allegations whether the other 3 were also part of a gang.
What they got to do with anything? There's the other 3 are part of the gang, because they got to be affiliated with it. And these, like when you that age, you kind of flaunt the fact that you affiliated with a gang, and so, but. Them other ones must be supportive and wanted to be down with the gang too, or want to be not per se that gang, but wanted to be associated with a gang, and or maybe they was just friends of one of them, and he went to school with them, with one of the 3. One of these guys went to school with all 3 of the other ones, or went to school with the girl and she introduced her to 2 of her friends.
what's really concerning about this is because that they're all minors, but we have a 12-year-old. So was the 12-year-old coerced into doing this? What was the situation? I mean, even if we don't say he was coerced or threatened, we have a situation where he was pulled in by much older teens. I mean, the other teens are 16 and 17 years old. That's a huge age gap. So,
Oh, they 16, 17. I thought they was like 14. No wonder they saying they 19, 9, he 14. I was like, how they age 5 years and he only 2. So they 16 and 17 and got a 12-year-old with them. I wonder how old was the other teens. They should say how old all of them is. Okay, it say right here in the letter here, it say 3 teenagers on March 2023. 3 teenagers aged 12, 16, and 17 were arrested and charged with the brutal murder of 16-year-old Layla. The youngest suspect, Christopher Atkins, just took a plea deal requiring him to testify against the other teens. Trials are remain trials for the remaining suspects are set July, while Atkins faces 40 years to life in prison. 40 years, that is life. And he 12. So he'll be 52 when he come home. What the hell? Get some of them captions down there below. Okay, let me raise this up. Marker, raise. Okay, here we go. Let's see. I wasn't allowed out the house at night when I was 12. But it sounded like the 2 girls was like on the not under their parents' custody, because one of the females say the girls lived with her for months. So why would they? When I was 17, I had to ask my mom for permission to go to Barnes and Nobles to read and drink Starbucks. The only thing that shocks me is that there is not more uproar when this is particularly happening on a weekly basis across the country. When I was 14, I was still trying to catch all the Pokemon. It's crazy how they just take these people's lives, and it's like we shouldn't hear any complaints about murderers spending 1/3 of their lives in prison when the victims didn't even get 1/3 of their life. They should never get out of prison. Never. I don't give a fuck how old you is. And they be like, their mind hasn't developed yet. It hasn't developed yet. Bro, everybody know, I don't care how old you are, there is no coming back from death. How old do you need to be to comprehend that? You're old enough to comprehend if you put your hand on fire, it's gonna burn, it's gonna hurt. So when they're able to comprehend that, you able to comprehend that taking one's life, they can never get it back.
But that's concerning as well.
No
And he came forward. He has, now pled guilty, and he seems to be, even at the young age of now 14.
Look at Chess. Chess is got the physique of an elementary, kid, and out committing murder, not grown man acts, despicable acts. Could nobody persuade me to murder nobody when I was coming up. Not in my wildest dreams. No. Didn't nobody have that much impression on me. No gang, and I done dabbled in that a little bit, Kids want to be kids, teenager boys want to be a part of, or have a little clique, or have a little movement. some type of little flow, some rhythm, but nah, you know what I mean? Y'all share this little handshake y'all do with each other in middle school when y'all see each other, and the only ones privy to that handshake is the guys that's in part, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is crazy. This is wicked as it gets. I never thought I'd see something, and just for this news cast to be 7 days, you know, old. That the story was March 2023, but I guess they I can't even imagine how they going, you know, preparing for trial for 2 years.
Trying to take responsibility for his participation in this gruesome crime.
And normally it seems like when we cover these types of cases, as far as young defendants allegedly committing very violent acts, especially murder like we have in this case, normally the victims are family members or relatives or someone kind of close to them. But from this case, it doesn't seem like all of them knew each other particularly that well, to the point that you could even really say that they were friends. It seems like some people knew others, but others didn't know the others, that type of thing. And it's a really kind of a tangled web just as far as their previous relationships prior to the day of the murders. But as far as just your reaction to them not really knowing each other that well, what are your thoughts on that, especially given, you know, you do have a 12-year-old boy who now will spend what could be the rest of his life in prison?
So you nailed it. It is a tangled web, and there seems to be some missing pieces that haven't come out or they're not releasing as to the connection, how they were there, what was the actual motivation. Not that
right. What is the motivation? Why? Is it something they did? They feel like one of the other three would spill the beans, or it ain't making sense. Like, did they even get from a 12-year-old a disclosure of why they do this?
You have to prove at trial motive, but a jury likes to hear what the motive was. What was the motivation to actually have these 3 children killed? Why was that? So, you know, that's going to be interesting, and as well as now we know.
If you've been injured in a recent car accident that wasn't your fault, I'm going to show you how I got this 100,000.
Know that the 12-year-old, who's now 14, is planning on testifying at trial against the other 2. So, I mean, and they're saying that, like you had mentioned, that his sentence is going to be, or the plea that has been offered, and I guess he's agreed to take at this point, is life in prison with possibility of parole. Now, you know, him being that young is interesting in Florida, because in Florida, first of all, if somebody has been charged with first-degree murder in Florida, if they're under the age of 14, the state attorney gets to determine if they're going to even be charged as an adult. So first, that decision has been made. Then we also have, when you come to first-degree murder, the Supreme Court of the United States has held that it's unconstitutional to have a minor be sentenced to death. So usually what happens in Florida, even if a minor is sentenced, it could be commuted to 25 years with possibility of parole, and that gets a little complicated.
You just look at them, and it's fucked up, man. It's crazy. And to be real with you, when you look at it and you think about it, you know, and they be like, blacks are hooligans, it's just vicious animals, and you see these other teens, they look so innocent, and then you see these 3 juveniles that decided to take their life, and it's like, man, bro, as far as our culture, it's just like, it just don't make it look good. So it make it look like our train of thought, our mindset is just derailing. It has no other option but to lash out, murder, lash out in violence. It's like, what else do you bring to the table? You know, I know it's people are creating color that excel but that ain't the stuff that make the news. You know, they don't broadcast people accolades and accomplishments. You know, they just shine a light on the murder. The murder outshine everything. You know, that's like Nipsey Hussle. His attributes, and that's why he's so celebrated. But it's like the murder still hovers over, you know, outshines or gets more attention than anything. Dolph is the same way. You know, anyone that did anything that's admirable and has accolades that, you know, they could be saluted. The murder is always, you know, hovering, and it's consuming the good deeds. You know, it's just sad, man. You just look at this young girl, and it's the one that just voluntarily went in the trunk. Maybe it's too crowded in the car. It don't make no sense to be in the trunk. But I wonder if she the one that was shot in the head, and the neighbors, neighborhood, whatever, resident found her on the ground like bleeding out her head, and they were saying she was still breathing. But the guy said he never seen someone shot before, but not in the head, and seen like the exit wound.
Complicated in Florida, what's going on having to do with that. But I think we need to keep in mind that this particular defendant is 12. Was 12 when this happened, and you know, to even like you mentioned, sentence him to life, possibility of parole, and potentially getting out in 25 years. That's at 37. I mean, that's 37 years old. That is a long time for a 12-year-old, and these possibility that he potentially was coerced or threatened to do these acts.
Now, I want to go back to one point you had mentioned about the motive in this case, and it seems like from reports I've been reading, it was just about they were planning to buy this gun on social media. Then one of the suspects thought that someone was going to snitch on them, and then they shot just pretty much all the victims here. But what are your thoughts just on this alleged motive behind the crime? Because it seems like if they thought snitching was going to be the reason for carrying out these acts, which is still horrible in itself to talk about, to say that. But what are your thoughts just about that particular motive, that they thought that they were going to be snitched on?
So, you know, a trial, once again, the prosecutor doesn't have to prove a motive, but a jury always wants to hear some sort of motive. I mean, that's, to be snitched on is as good a motive as any other motive. You know, it just sounds like, as the facts have unraveled, that you got a group of kids, it's not really organized, it's not really put together. I don't think there is any plan, maybe.
Never sue the other driver after a car accident. There's a better way to get paid a way bigger check without having to go to court or pay expensive upfront legal fees. Listen, if you've been in a car accident in the past year, even as a
reaction.
Well, yeah, they do. They don't brandish them like on Facebook Market, sell the gun. But once you get in communication with people, they do offer, like, especially if they're interested in something you got. And I can't say why they will offer up a gun, but people do. If they so desperate to get an item you have, they willing to, you know, if they willing to part, they have a gun, they part ways. They think some people, when they hear a gun, it really piques their interest, and like, oh yeah, I need to get that gun. Like, you know, I want a gun. So they're willing to come up the item that they want to sell. Whether it's like a dirt bike or whatever, you know, I had offers like that, selling a dirt bike, and people offering, like, you know, ATVs, they offering a gun with a PlayStation and, you know, various other things. But I've been offered a few guns in that perspective, you know, in that perspective, like, they wanted something I have, and I wasn't willing to, you know, settle for this amount of money or for this amount of money and a PlayStation. So they threw in a gun with it, and you know, hoping like, oh yeah, hell yeah, with the gun. You know, I don't even care about all the other stuff. The gun, it you know, it's finalized to sell for me. All the other stuff is a perk, you know. But yeah,
Thought somebody was going to snitch. But the bottom line is, those other kids were part of this. So let's just say that they potentially snitched. They were part of what was going on based on what the allegations that we've heard. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, it could have just been, there was a discussion because it wasn't planned. It could have been a frenzy. And we have minors. We have minors here. So, who knows? I guess more facts are going to come out as we have this 12-year-old that's planning on testifying, but to that.
Yeah, and with that plea deal, he again, we were just talking about how he faces that significant amount of time. What are your thoughts just about the deal overall, especially that he'll have to testify against his other co-defendants? Do you think he's, again, he's just 14 years old now, but do you think he understands just the gravity of all that he has to do in order to even get this deal?
I don't think at 12 he understood the gravity of what was going on, and I don't necessarily think at 14 that he understands the gravity. My personal opinion is I don't think this was such, whoever was representing him, I don't think, based on what we heard, this is such a great deal. I mean, to me, that really under the allegations that we have that he was coerced, or he believes he was coerced, and he's testifying against the two other defendants who were significantly older, I would have thought that maybe they would have given him a better deal than that, than 25, with possibility of parole.
Yeah, because to your point earlier, it's still a significant amount of time because he'll be nearly 40 years old, and that's like a third of his life or most of his life at that point, just spent behind bars. And I was kind of digging around to see like where all of them are housed, and all of them are still in the Marion County Jail altogether, all three co-defendants. Are you surprised that they are all housed in the same jail together, especially given it's been about 2 years now since the crime? Maybe there were conversations had, maybe there were flights or kites that were sent through, and I just know this from watching jail TV shows, but maybe that they've devised a plan possibly while they were all in jail together to be like, let's get our story straight. Again, not knowing, the full extent of all of their relationships together, but what are your thoughts on them all just still being housed in the same jail together and how complicated that could possibly be?
Well, it's not surprising they're in the same jail because we have to remember, they haven't been convicted. So that they're going to keep them there for the trial.
They've been in this jail about a year and a half, or roughly close to 2 years. This happened in March of 2023, so they have been in this jail 2 years. And man, that's crazy. Just to go through that jail, and I know people probably hearing or saying, "Oh yeah, they was," when you see certain individuals, you be like, thinking like, oh damn, dude was that's dude that murdered, them kids and shit. You know what I mean? That's one of them dudes. Cause that is gonna be said. You know what I'm saying? The conversation is definitely gonna be had, or it's gonna be brought up when people see him. They're gonna think about that. It's just, man, it's just wicked. You know what I mean? Like I always say, it's a wicked world we live in. But
so that's not surprising. However, I don't think that's a concern about them trying to put their story together, because even in the same jail, they can pretty much keep them separated or put in things to prevent that from happening. What is kind of should be surprising to listeners, though, is remember, we now have at the time, 12-year-old, now 14-year-old, it's in an adult jail. So, I mean, just to put that in perspective, to me, that's like, how are you keeping that 12-year-old safe in jail? And how are you going to keep a 14-year-old safe in prison? So, I mean, to me, that is the bigger thing to really focus in on. But I don't think the jail can keep them separate pending the trial.
This the thing, bro. I mean, it is their job to do that, but being that they was able to do something of this magnitude, I wouldn't even be concerned about keeping them safe. I would, truly would. Not me. You know what I mean? When you desensitize and you have no consideration for human life, why would someone be concerned about yours? You know what I mean? I heard a individual say some wild shit before, and I don't know what he did when he came, come to prison, but he was like, cause they was talking about him being gay, and he was like, man, he was saying he's young, and he said his bunkie had to, like, at the count or whatever, his bunkie jumped down off the bed and was like, man, get over here and suck my dick, and he said, cause he was so young, he said that's what he supposed to did. I said, man, what the fuck are you talking about? But I guess he came down when he was, when he was 13 or some shit like that. You know what I mean? But that happens when you come down that young or whatever. When guys, prey on the weak, they prey on the young. They think them guys, when they so young and they got hair on their face, they look like females. But these guys is preyed on, and they ain't teenagers. They young adults. You know what I mean? They come through. They 18, 19, young white guys, black guys that ain't really hood, like, but especially the white guys, man. It's crucial for them. But anyway, I see it like, shit, you make your bed, you lie in it. I ain't gonna say, well, I often say, ain't nobody tell you to do that murder. In one instance, I guess this guy, he was told to do it, but ain't nobody put no gun in your head. And then when they discussing this stuff, he should have got far away from them as he could, like, distance himself. It's obvious that they want to head down the right road, But when you're young like that, you don't know how serious things are that you're getting into. You know what I mean?
And how often are you seeing minors who are housed in adult facilities in Florida? Are you seeing that pretty often, especially, it seems like, obviously from our end, that we cover a lot of cases involving a lot of teens who commit types of different crimes and that sort. But it seems like, for the most part, we see them going to juvenile detention. But here we have a case where, to your point, that they're in adult detention right now. But do you see that pretty often now?
Well, I mean, it's going to have to be a crime like first-degree murder, because in Florida, so if they are over the age of 14, then it's mandated from 14 to 17 if they commit first-degree murder that they have to be tried as an adult, and that's going to put them potentially right away at that time when that decision's made into an adult jail, and then ultimately, if convicted, an adult prison.
A lot of talking about that. Let's go. Let's switch gears for you.
Don't get fooled by phone scammers. ReversePhone.com can help you see who's behind that number. Phone fraud is at an all-time high, and these scammers are only getting better at it. But there's a way to fight back. ReversePhone.com can help you discover who's behind the call. Is it a scammer, a telemarketer, something else? Search unknown numbers.
Old. After taking all necessary precautions, like making both Chris and his mother aware of their rights, and establishing on record that Chris knew the difference between right and wrong, they finally got to the issue at hand.
Back it up.
Where's my son?
Because she thought he was being questioned.
Bob and 3-5.
Like that. So was anyone else there at the house?
Okay, I'm gonna let y'all hear this stuff. This is
One of the things students love about Culinary School Online with Escoffier is the toolkit. Our students can receive a starter kit of professional tools, including knives, a chef coat, and other basics to help them complete their assignments. When it
Leave him alone! They are not your son! Stop it! Leave him alone! Be honest, baby. It's okay.
Because you're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel so much better.
When they pull this GPS, will it show that you were at home in your bed, or will it show that you were somewhere else? That's the question that was asked. You don't know?
This is that's serious. You will kill my family. What am I supposed to do?
Robert, you don't understand that you're just as guilty if you know who did it and you're not saying nothing. That's guilty by association.
Snitching on everybody.
He said, what was the point of me snitching on everybody if I was going to get charged? Hey, he dumb. He knows something. But it's over once they get you to talking, and you know what I mean? Because everything you say they're going to use against you in the court of law. But yeah, I guess he was going to stand tall if his mother wasn't never brought in.
Why did you make me snitch?
I said I don't know.
He blamed his mom. He said, "What did you make me snitch?" Damn. Yeah. So let me see if this one got the roses on it. Nah, that ain't the Jesus piece I like. I like the Jesus piece with the thorns. It's like formed into rose. I'm sorry. I'm looking at some cherry over here. Let's see. Is it my life? See, they
When
know
the
the
bodies of
magnitude.
3 teenagers were
He shouldn't have
discovered
did
over a period of several days.
I said and you're not saying nothing. That's guilty by association.
I don't know. Snitching on everybody. If I was gonna get charged, why did you make me snitch?
I said I don't know.
When the bodies of 3 teenagers were discovered over a period of several days in the same neighborhood in Marion County, Florida, the police didn't know what to think. This would set the tone for the rest of the case, as the emerging suspects all seemed intent on blaming each other. The identity of the alleged perpetrator, along with the motive for the heartless murders, turned out to be more alarming than anyone wanted to believe. The police first learned that something was terribly wrong just before midnight on March 30th, 2023, when they received this 911 call.
There's a girl laying in front of my road and she's dying.
Okay, is she awake?
She's dying, I don't know. She's bleeding out of her head. She's gargling on her blood.
You need to turn her on her side so she doesn't choke, okay?
It doesn't matter what side? Like on what side?
No, just turn her on her side so she doesn't choke on the blood, okay?
God.
Oh, you can
awake?
hear her.
No.
Okay, is she breathing?
She's breathing. Do you know how far they are?
I don't have an ETA, but they are on the way, okay?
Deputies from the Marion County Sheriff's Department arrived moments before the...
Damn, you can hear her gargle. I didn't hear that. I watched like 20 minutes of this
Breathing.
last night.
Do you know how? God.
Her on her side so she doesn't
You
choke,
hear her
okay?
gargle.
It doesn't matter what side? Like on what side?
No, just turn her on her side so she doesn't choke on the blood, okay?
God.
Oh,
Is she awake?
No.
Okay, is she breathing?
She's breathing. Do you know how far they are?
I don't have an ETA, but they are on the way, okay?
Deputies from the Marion County Sheriff's Department arrived moments before the ambulance. While paramedics rushed to try to save the victim, the deputies tried to get a grasp on the chaotic scene. Within 5 minutes of the ambulance arriving, the victim was on her way to the nearest hospital. The Sheriff's Department was left to pick apart the seemingly inexplicable scene.
She's not responsive? No, not responsive. No, there's no ID, no nothing. Young girl, older girl? Younger girl.
She was right there, and that's been moved.
She was right there, right?
Yeah. And there's blood everywhere. I was not expecting that.
No. Well, I thought it was going to be BS, honestly.
Yeah, I immediately thought she had got, like, hit by a car.
Mm.
And I seen the big, but I've never seen an exit wound in a head.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the... Wait, is that the police saying this? Or... Yeah, because he's saying, like, he said, I thought it was going to be BS, so it's obviously somebody that responded to the call. So it got to be an officer.
Yeah, I immediately thought she had got, like, hit by a car. And I seen the big, but I've never seen an exit wound in a head.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware. Oh, yeah. she's laying down. It's all pulled out. I mean, it was.
And she was still breathing?
Rapid breathing.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Medic said she ain't gonna take it.
Yeah, more than likely. I mean, if she did, that's wild.
When police made contact with the 911 caller, they learned that he was just as confused about the situation as the deputies. He only became aware that something was amiss when he got a call from his neighbor across the street.
You didn't hear nothing at
She
all?
told me it sounded like someone crashed into my dumpster and then there was like 2 shots.
The neighbor in question made her way over to talk to the deputies directly. Unfortunately, what she said only served to make the situation even more mysterious.
So, around what time did you hear? You said it sounded like a gun,
Yeah, it wasn't a loud gunshot. I would say about 20, 30 minutes ago. It wasn't a loud gunshot, but I heard about 4 or 5, and I kind of blew it off casually, and then I just looked out of my window because I did think it was strange with it, how late it was, and I saw the car run into the dumpster. And once I seen the car run into the dumpster, I stepped out my door, and I seen a man run out of the car down the road towards my yard, and I yelled at him, "What are you doing?" And then I seen him run back towards the car, take a minute, and I was calling him because it was his dumpster, and I seen him skirt off into the neighborhood.
Did you see if anybody was in? Was it only one? Was there
I
several
only
people?
seen one person running, and it was a male. It had a male figure, had a hat on. I want to say he was like 5 foot, maybe, but it was only one dude running down the road.
This once again tracked with the evidence, as police found several sets of footprints at the scene.
Today we are setting up this Chick-fil-A employee for anything she wants. You could pick any item you want. I'll go get it for you. Whatever you always wanted.
Did you hear the crash first, or did you hear what sounded like
I heard the gunshots first.
Where did?
The deputies closed down the main entrances and exits to the Forest Lakes Park neighborhood, hoping to catch the alleged shooter as he attempted to flee. Unfortunately, the area was heavily wooded, with plenty of places to hide and lots of back roads. This made for a difficult search for police, and an easy getaway for the alleged perpetrator. Meanwhile, the hospital where the victim was being treated was able to provide some help in that regard. They identified the girl as 16-year-old Layla Silvernail. Her grandparents, who were her legal guardians, were understandably...
So she the one that was driving the car. And when they clipped her, it popped her, blew her mind out. Man, just went across her mind up the moment. Let's see, let's check this out.
Distraught. Detectives first made contact with her grandfather, Kenneth.
Layla was found, she was apparently with a gunshot wound, and she was taken to the hospital. So that's part of the reason why we came here, was to let you know about her status, but we also wanted to know any information that you had about who she was with yesterday, who she hanged out with.
What's she in the hospital for?
She had a gunshot wound.
Huh? She was shot. You're kidding.
No, that's what I told you when I
This is what I've been trying to tell her. You're hanging around with a girl.
Kenneth hurried to the back of the house to get his wife, Lisa. Layla's grandmother only seemed to become more distressed when the detectives tried to ask her questions.
Lisa, come here. Lisa. Lisa, have a seat right here.
Is my granddaughter okay? Will she be okay?
She's going to be at the hospital. I don't know anything. That's why I said talk to you. I'm the victim advocate, okay? I'm here for you. Have a seat for us. We need some information so we can find out who did this, okay?
I'd like to know too.
We
I will
need...
go and I will shoot their asses. Oh no! Where was she shot at? Does anybody know anything?
She was shot in the head. Listen, Lisa. That's all we have right now, okay?
Ooh.
This can't be happening. This can't be
She said,
happening.
I'm gonna kill their ass. Ah, shit, I feel it, boy. Man. I know that one hurt.
The situation was actually more horrifying than Lisa knew. Early on March 31st, the morning after the shooting, the police stumbled upon the last thing they were expecting. Just blocks away from the crime scene where Layla was found, police discovered a second victim, also suffering from a gunshot wound. There was little doubt that the two cases were connected, which made the search for the shooter all the more urgent. Back with Layla's grandparents, the detectives desperately tried to find out who might have been with Layla that night. Since they'd already found two victims, they had to wonder if more of her friends were hurt, or in danger too.
Lisa, look at me. Who was she with yesterday?
She came here with, and I'm gonna tell you everything, because I don't like the people she hangs around with anyway.
Okay, that's what we need. That's what we need.
Lisa said Layla was almost always with her boyfriend, 17-year-old Michael Hodo. She also directed the police to Layla's best friend, who might have more information about her activities the day before the shooting. Another name came up too, and it was one police were already familiar with.
And then that runaway girl, Camille.
Yeah, that's what I say. She run away.
She was with her too yesterday.
Camille Quarles, 16, had been reported as a runaway by her aunt and legal guardian several weeks prior. It was an open secret that she'd been staying with Layla at her grandparents' house.
That's it. She was staying with her. Okay. I remember hearing, I'm like, they was like running the streets. One of them was staying. I thought both of them was staying with somebody else. So, okay, if it's Camille that's staying with Layla. She said that runaway girl.
But no one had successfully brought her home yet. When police made contact with Camille's aunt, Amy, she was not shy about expressing her frustration with the investigation.
I did call it in this morning to ask somebody to go through there, and nobody has called me back. I've called 5 or 6 times a day since she's been gone.
Even worse, Amy's son was hearing all kinds of gossip about the case at school. People were saying Camille had also been shot. The names of the victims and the location of the crime was seemingly common knowledge. Disturbingly, police had not yet confirmed if Camille was involved. Also, they'd not yet released the names of the victims or the location, which meant whoever was spreading this information had to be involved.
And there was another body discovered this morning in that neighborhood.
Okay.
I want to know if it's my child.
Okay, the second person is not Camille. I can't identify who that person is, but it's not her.
The identity of the second victim only made the case more dire, especially in regards to Camille's safety. Frustratingly, the police were still in the dark about most of the lead up to the crime, up until they got in touch with Layla's best friend, Gabby. She was more forthcoming and told the detectives that she'd spent the day with Layla and her boyfriend, Michael Hodo, and several other teens who would soon become an integral part of the case.
Was there anybody else in the car other than you, Layla, anytime during the day?
Camille was there.
This was the second statement placing Camille at the scene of the crime, but disturbingly, there was still no sign of her.
Why are you not investing?
Oh, shit. And she in the trunk the whole time. I wasn't even paying attention to what they building up to.
In tax liens. No, seriously. Why are you not investing into one of the most incredible real estate strategies that's the most passive and creates the highest rate of return? Now, I bet you're thinking, Brian, I don't even know what that is. And even if I did, I don't know how to do it. So 5 things I want to...
Prior to the shooting, Camille's aunt said she'd caught sight of her at the park once or twice and kept a close eye on her Instagram feed to see what she was up to. Since the night of the 30th, though, it had been radio silence. Back with the detectives, Layla's friend recounted their travel to see what she was up to. Still no sign of her. Prior to the shooting, Camille's aunt said she'd caught sight of her at the park once or twice and kept a close eye on her Instagram feed to see what she was up to. Since the night of the 30th, though, it had been radio silence. Back with the detectives, Layla's friend recounted their travels throughout the day and who else was with the group.
We went to Rob's. We went to I don't know if it's abandoned. Do you know what a trap house is? Yeah. Okay, so apparently.
I like this girl. She said, I don't know, is it abandoned or do you know how to trap house? So this kid right here has a trap house. Is he trapping? I don't think they know what a trap house is. Trap house is where you serve substance. It ain't just no abandoned house. People can like consider a bando a trap house. No, it's a difference between a trap house and a bando. A bando is abandoned house. A trap house is where you cop from, like where they serve out of. That's a trap.
Apparently, like this kid Rob, I don't know him personally, but they do.
Okay.
They're like friends or whatever, and we went over there and we chilled over there.
Significantly, Gabby said that Layla had been the one driving all day. But
Yeah, her crew's nice. Look at that. Look like it got white leather seats, got the white accent. Oh yeah, her shit. Yeah. Her shit. Okay then. Layla shit was nice.
The sign of her vehicle, a white Chevy Cruze, was a tire track left at the crime scene. The police hoped that finding the vehicle would offer some insight into what happened the night Layla was shot.
Do you know his last name or anything else about Rob?
No, I don't really know if Rob is like his real name or not, because I know some people know him as Reaper, Rob, and stuff like that. So
Was anyone else there at the house besides the three of you and Rob?
well, there was this kid 3-5, but I don't know his real name.
What's 3-5 look like?
I don't know. He's 12. He's a little
Is
kid.
it 12-year-old?
Detectives knew they needed to track down Rob and 3-5. They started with Rob, who they believed to be 17.
So what does 3-5 stand for? If his name is 3-5, 3-5, what is that? What does that mean? 3-5. That's a weird name. 3-5. 3 feet 5 inches. 3-5. Burn. Like I got soap in it.
18-year-old Robert Robinson, who was already incarcerated at a juvenile detention facility for a different offense. When detectives asked him about 3-5, he directed them to a boy named Christopher Atkins.
Wow.
Shockingly, Gabby was right.
Did his mama make him tell that? He talking about why you make me tell if I was gonna be charged or something. Why you tell them who he is and you know it's a possibility? That's probably where the case cracked right there. That's probably where he fucked up right there. Now I'm turning back into a criminal defense lawyer. You say, now let's see, I guarantee you the 12-year-old is the one that cracked the case open, but this stupid motherfucker, Robert, gonna get on here and say to his mother, what you make me tell for, what you make me snitch if I'm getting charged with the same thing. You the one that told him who 3-5 is.
He was
And
only
nobody knows
12
who he
years
is.
old. Since Chris and Rob were both minors, their mothers were asked to join them at the police station
Goofy.
before any conversations
Goofy.
took place. Chris's mother, Ashley, was the first to arrive.
I don't understand when the world is my son. If he be in question, why the fuck I'm not in there? Which thing's the one? Where's the son?
He's in the other room right here.
Me talking to him?
Not yet, no. They're all getting their stuff together.
It seems she wasn't convinced they weren't already questioning him, because Ashley did her best to hear what was going on in the other room.
I don't understand why they be having that AC pumping so.
After almost
they
2
have it
hours of
pumping.
waiting, she was finally escorted to the next room to join Chris, who was visibly
He ain't
trembling.
got no coat on. That's crazy. He ain't got no shirt on. But when they pick him up, because they saying that the other one was in the detention center already, so they had to be free. We know he was free, but where was he at? Was he at home? And why they ain't put no clothes on like her? Why she come down there in that? I know they got her from my house. Why ain't she put no clothes on?
Can I put this on him? Sure.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Did you want another jacket? That's okay. Are you sure? You look like you're cold. Let me get you.
You say you have 4 siblings? Okay. You guys get along okay in the house?
The
They don't
detective
be
set
calm.
about gradually breaking the ice with Chris, all the time appearing hyper-aware that he was only 12 years old. After taking all necessary precautions, like making both Chris and his mother aware of their rights, and establishing on record that Chris knew the difference between right and wrong, they finally got to the issue at hand.
So, Chris, what I'd like to start with talking to you about is, and like I said, I just want you to be honest with us. I'd like you to talk to me about last Thursday night.
First we made him eat, then we watched TV. Then I went to sleep for a little bit, and I heard something outside. I opened the door. There was nothing outside now. I think I went to sleep.
So I think what you just told me was what you probably had rehearsed in your mind several times to tell a police officer if you ever had to talk about that Thursday night. Because sitting here and talking to you with your mom here crying and knowing that you have these siblings, you're probably in sort of an embarrassing and shameful position. If you are sorry for what happened, repent for it and start from the very beginning and go to the very end without me having to pull it from you. Because somebody that I have to pull each individual action from, that tells me that they don't really want to say what they did wrong, that they don't feel bad for it.
Reaper down there has been super honest. He took him a minute to get comfortable with me, and he's told me everything down to details that only he would know, and
that nobody else would know.
Some of the details, he points finger at you.
17-year-old Rob, also known by the concerning moniker Reaper, was also being questioned. Just like Chris, Rob and his mom Erica were both advised of their Miranda rights before the interrogation commenced.
I'm trying to bring the best way to say this to you guys. We're investigating several different incidents that occurred over the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
One being a theft of side-by-side. One being the theft of, a burglary. We're investigating a robbery, and we're investigating a murder. Okay?
Nigga, you should knock it off.
So,
3 signs your car accident is worth major compensation. If you've been in a car accident recently, there are 3 critical signs that...
He the one told me he had the murder.
The first ones you named, just believe it. The last one you named,
well,
is not. You don't have the heart to keep it. I know that for a fact.
okay. What'd you do on Thursday all day?
I mean, I was home already. Like, I was home all Thursday.
Okay, who were you with? Did anybody come over? Did we hang out with anybody? Did you go anywhere with anybody?
I ain't go no. Came over at like 1 o'clock.
What'd you guys do then?
We were just chilling. Literally, like we were just chilling.
Okay. Was anybody with at the time? How did he get to your house? Things like that?
Supposed to drove to my house. It was him, Landon, Layla, and there was another girl with them. I don't know her name.
Sosa was a nickname that Layla's boyfriend, 17-year-old Michael, used. Michael's father had last seen him about 6:30 last night, around the same time Gabby said she parted ways with the group. Landon was another local boy who police determined didn't know anything that would aid the investigation. As for the unnamed girl, the police likely wondered if she could be the missing Camille and why she hadn't been seen or heard from since.
Did you go anywhere after 6:30, Rob?
Oh, I do not keep
asking. Okay. I just wanted to
asking because we've been working on our investigation
What
for
do
several
y'all
days.
think happened, bro? I'm telling you,
You understand?
in the house
You understand?
that night. Like I only seen Sosa one time that day.
Rob, we know you were out of the house after 6:30. Okay? We know you were with around 7 o'clock p.m.
Thanks to CCTV footage, police believed that Rob, along with others in the friend group, had been involved in the theft of a vehicle and an armed robbery that night. As serious as these crimes were, they paled in comparison to what police believed happened later. Back in the room with Chris, his mother tried to make him understand the severity of the situation.
Well, you need to tell if you ain't.
Now's the time.
Now's the whole story. You know you left out of the house Thursday when I told you not to, and you finna speak. You better talk right now.
Reaper's already told us what the plan was that night. So there's, I mean, we know what the original plan was. We're asking.
Man, they real intimate with him. His room is congested, like, or maybe they just sitting that close to him. But I feel like the room is more congested. So I would say it's a more intimidating factor, especially with his mom's pushing for him to speak on it. You know what I mean?
You now to be honest, and to come forth and tell us what happened and why it happened.
He knocked on the window.
When you say he, I never want to guess. Who's he?
I like this officer. He said, when you say he, I don't never want to guess. And then he said he don't want to have to pull nothing out of you. He wants you to tell him.
Reaper, aka Rob, took a lot of convincing before he opened up.
Rob, right now you're protecting KTM and your buddy. You need to think about protecting yourself.
The disturbing meaning behind KTM will be revealed in due time. For now, the fact that the police knew about the mysterious phrase was enough to get Rob talking, albeit reluctantly.
That's their little gang, huh?
When you were with who was with y'all?
It was me, 3-5. Layla was there, and that was it.
The police knew by now that there were more people at the house than just Chris, Rob, Michael, and Layla.
Did you go anywhere with them that night?
No, I ain't go nowhere with them. I just told you. I went, I swear to God, was at the house. They said they was finna leave. I went back home. Actually, Mom, I didn't come in until like late. I didn't come in until after 7 anyways.
You don't know what time you came home. Now,
But they talking about what now Mulaka at 7:10.
what I'm saying is, you don't know what time you came home because you defy your curfew so much. You don't know what time you came in. It might have been 8 o'clock. It might have been 7:30. It might have, you know what I'm saying? So you don't know. What I'm saying is, if you know something that they're trying to get out of you, I don't give a who your friends are, who you trying to protect. I gotta get to work, and I'm sick of dealing with this jail. Cause you choose to have friends. I mean, you know something. You need to be honest.
He the motherfucking mastermind. He the mastermind. That's how it's coming off. And I think, is it him? Oh, you know what? I don't think they interviewed the other dark dude. It's another one that's dark skinned. Let me see. Is he with them? Team Killer doesn't realize. Is this him? Nah, he ain't them. Yeah, nah, he ain't with them.
Unfortunately for Rob, the police already knew that he was still holding back the dark details of what he got up to that night.
What about his cell phone? Do you own that phone?
Yeah, I own that phone. So do you all have permission to check the location?
That
on
would be
phone?
great. Yeah.
No.
That would
What
be
do you
great.
mean no?
Oh, they can check my phone. They might find
They're not
something else in
looking.
there.
They're not looking in your phone for anything else.
So you're certain that your phone GPS will keep you at your house that night?
Are you? Are you? So we gon' no.
I can just tell you, I really don't know nothing about no murder. That is the truth. I don't know nothing about no murder, and I was not there with no murder.
That's not what they asked though. That's not what they asked. What they asked was, when they pull this GPS.
Are you drowning in payday loan debt? Have you taken out multiple payday loans and are unable to pay them back? Then listen to this message closely. A recently announced payday loan forgiveness program is allowing Americans with payday loan debts to be forgiven by as much as 80% of
I
the
knew they
amounts
was gonna do
owed.
that.
This program
Soon
is
as I
only
walk
available
away,
for a
go to
limited
the
period of
commercial.
time. We strongly advise you to call in.
Will it show that you were at home in your bed, or will it show that you were
Make
somewhere
sure
else?
I go out
That's
my
the
way
question
to
that
get
was
that
asked.
today.
You don't know?
I don't know what y'all want me to do. Like, I'm telling you
Oh,
stuff.
they want you to tell them mine, and I'm telling them the truth, and you sitting there going with them. Why don't you believe in them? They are not your son. Stop believing them. Oh, no, I was not there. Like, I didn't say you was not there. You were there. Wait, first and foremost. You sitting there just moving everything you're saying. No, first and foremost, you lie so much, I don't know what to believe would come down your mouth. You didn't burn the bridge that's been gone. Let's get that understood.
Like I was like,
but what I'm saying is, you so quick to want to protect people. And let me finish.
Protecting.
You so quick to want to protect people, don't want to snitch, want to be cool this and cool that, and not be known as a is in the paperwork and all of this, that you're willing to sit here and go down for murder that I know you didn't do. I know for a fact that you didn't do it, but you're going to be guilty by association because you don't want to tell who the did it. That's the problem.
I wonder if, so he might not be the leader, it might be the other guy. Okay, because he's the one with the nappy hair. There's another dude with dreads. Now he looks a little older than all three of them. I mean, the other two. 3-5 is the 12-year-old. He might be the 16-year-old, and the other dude is the 17-year-old. Because he the one with the little fro. 3-5 has the dreads just as well as the other darker guy. I wonder why they didn't put him in there.
I did not kill nobody.
Did somebody you know do it?
Like, what the?
No, I don't know nothing about no murder. I don't know nothing about no murder.
And if you lying, you standing on this island by yourself. Because if you got something to tell these people, because they have a way to tell if you're lying.
The best way to tell if Rob was lying was Chris, who was still in the room next door. He was sharing a bit more than Rob, and some key differences in their statements stood out already.
What do you think he's gonna tell us, Robert?
He's not gonna, with me, I swear to God, he's not gonna, I didn't do anything. I promise you I didn't do anything. Who did?
I don't understand why you keep lying.
He the one that told him about Chris. If he was just kept his mouth shut, they probably wouldn't even knew.
And then you go down and it's gonna be a snitch. And it doesn't matter. Kill me, it don't matter. That is a snitch and I would die. This is not no joke. You would die. Like, you would die for snitching out here. People die for that. Real talk. Mama, people get popped and killed for snitching.
Well, we're talking about life sentences here.
Right. And this is like really just listen. Your actions and the people you choose to hang with and all of this I didn't kill anyone. Is slowly killing me. I should just pause. Let me talk. I'm supposed to be at work right now. I just took a promotion. I can't keep missing work. All the that you are doing or the people you hang with or just any of that. Like, I don't know if you know or not, but they threatening me with contempt of court because I don't come to none of your court stuff for the other that you got going on. I make sure you get there, but I cannot keep missing work. And you sitting here in my face telling me that
Hurting, killing moms, boy. And then, you know, think about his mom going through this shit. But you think about the other parents that, you know, grandparents, other guardians hearing that their children are, you know, deceased, been hit with fatal blows, one shot in the head, one shot in, you know, that shit is crazy, man. They talking about the car ran into a dumpster, and I think 3-5 jumped out and ran, but I think they jumped back in the car or pushed her out or whatever, I don't know, and took the car and drove into the pond, because it didn't stay right there where it hit that dumpster.
you don't want to snitch because your life is they gonna kill you in pause.
You don't know, mama. It wasn't me.
I didn't say
that. Nobody, they trying to get me to my sister.
I didn't say that you killed anyone. Robert, you don't understand that you're just as guilty if you know who did it and you're not saying nothing.
If you've been injured in a recent car accident that wasn't your fault, I'm gonna show you how I got this $100,000 check, my car replaced, and my.
Guilty by association. Like, what part of that is not clicking for you? If you know who killed these kids, then you need to tell him.
Some part of this tirade must have made an impression, because at long last, Rob shared his version of events.
Yeah, I can definitely just hit the fast forward to. What?
Okay. Tell me about it.
Were you there?
The whole story?
Were you there?
Let him talk. Tell me the whole story.
Rob just mentioned 3 victims, but the detectives had so far only asked him about 2. Not only did this grab their attention, but they likely suspected that the Taj that Rob mentioned was 16-year-old Taj Bruton, with whom they were already acquainted due to previous cases.
So he's not the oldest, but he does look the most grimiest.
Unfortunately, they likely suspected that the Taj...
They say they knew him from previous cases. Oh, I'm sorry. I rewinded too much.
Just mentioned 3 victims, but the detectives had so far only asked him about 2. Not only did this grab their attention, but they likely suspected that the Taj that Rob mentioned was 16-year-old Taj Bruton, with whom they were already acquainted due to previous cases. Unfortunately, this didn't mean they knew where to find him. Several weeks earlier, Taj cut off his ankle monitor and went on the run. The detectives would focus on this after they got more of the story from Chris, who picked up the story after he said Rob, aka Reaper, knocked on his window.
Okay, Reaper knocks on the window. He knocks on the window. He said, "Come on, we're finna go see the girls or something." Then we went out. And this girl and the boy picked us up. I don't know what. This girl and the boy.
You know what? They haven't mentioned murder in front of his mother. I wonder, do she know is murder involved? We're gonna see if she react when they say murder. You know what I mean?
From Rob's statement, the police believe this had to be Michael and Layla. He made no mention of Camille, however, even when he explained where everyone was sitting in Layla's car. The seating arrangement would be crucial later. Layla was driving. Michael was in the passenger seat, while Chris and Rob were in the back seat. But they weren't alone.
Then somebody came in the car. I don't know his name. It was like somebody in all black.
Okay. And how does this person look? I know you said he's wearing dark colored clothes, right? I heard you say that.
Ski mask on too.
I'm telling you what, if somebody got in the car wearing a ski mask, I'd be like, what is going on?
But that didn't appear to be Chris's response, and the detectives likely had a horrible inkling as to why.
Yeah, I looked at Rob. I was like, I thought we were going to see some girls. He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, all right. And then we kept driving again.
Throughout his interrogation, Chris would only refer to the man in the ski mask as the X-Man. Luckily, Rob had already revealed the identity of their companion.
We went to pick up Taj. As soon as Taj came out of the house, first thing he told me, like, we knocking on. We knocking out. I was like, nah, but I ain't even trying to do all that.
It took a little more persuading, but Rob eventually told the police that they could find Taj at his girlfriend's house.
This nigga just immediately get in the car and saying we knocking them off. Did he say knocking? Is he talking about knocking them off, or did he say we knocking?
Knocking out. I was like, nah, but I ain't even trying to do all that. We went to pick up Taj. As soon as Taj came out of the house, first thing he told me, like, we knocking on. We knocking out. I was like, nah, but I ain't even trying to do all that.
It took a little more persuading, but Rob eventually told the police that they could find Taj at his girlfriend's house. They picked him up and brought him to the station after they finished talking to Chris and Rob. But instead of clearing up the questions detectives had, Taj made everything more confusing. He said everything was Rob's idea.
I'm sitting right next to him, and he whispered in my ear, he was like, bro, I'm finna rob these tonight, bro. I look at him like, what you mean you finna rob these tonight? He's like, bro, a pound of weed, they got some money, bro. And if they don't go for it, I'm gonna kill them. That's exactly how he said. At this point, I'm frantic, but I can't, like, if I tell Sosa, right, Rob's sitting right next to me, so therefore he's gonna shoot me. So I'm sitting here, I'm scared as hell, so I'm like, I ain't got no choice but to just sit here and just, it is what it is.
Rob told detectives that it was the other way around.
It was so random, like he just said he wanted to knock him off. I'm not thinking he's serious though, like, at the time when he first said it, if you would have seen his face, like, right, he was laughing, like, if I would have really thought he was finna kill, like, I wouldn't have got back in that car. I would have stayed right there and called my mom and be like, can you come get me?
Call my mama. Yeah. We gonna call your mama. I don't know if we believe that.
I didn't think he was serious until when the car started slowing down and I seen him up the gun.
Rob said that Taj did this because he wanted to take Michael's firearm. Over in Chris's interrogation room, his story aligned with Rob's. for now.
What triggered him to just start shooting? I'm trying to figure out. Is something in between that you're not saying?
Because I think the person that the white guy, I think he said he had a lot of money or something.
Oh, so it was set up as a robbery. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay. So they were setting up a robbery in.
Did Reaper mention that to you, that something was going to be set up or anything?
He didn't even know. Like, all I heard was pow. Then I thought somebody was shooting at us, so I hopped out the car and ran.
I'm looking. Boom! Boom!
Once again, Taj's version was a little different.
Before I shot Sosa, boom, Layla got shot by Rob because that was diagonal. It was crazy.
Just like that. It took 2 shots. It wasn't no more than that. It took 2 shots to kill both of them.
The police knew at least part of this was true. Who shot who was yet to be determined. But tragically, they'd confirmed the second victim as Layla's boyfriend, Michael Hodo. He was in the grass by the side of the road, just blocks away from Layla. He was deceased when police found him. Michael's father had a heartbreaking reaction when he found out that his son would not be coming home.
My son's dead, isn't he? I'm sorry to be the one to tell you. No! Oh my God! No!
Fucked up, man. It's hard to listen to that. Sheesh.
Help. We have to talk. We have to find this out. Who's to find this? This is to go find out who did this to Sam. I'll find him when I go and kill him. Oh my God.
While Michael's family reeled from the devastating news, Chris continued with his upsetting story about Michael's final moments.
And you said he shot this white guy first?
Yeah, the white guy was like sitting like this. And
where'd he shoot him at?
Like right here.
And the gun was pressed up against his head? Is that what you're?
I think it was like.
Okay. And then, what about the white girl that's driving? Tell me about that.
He turned the gun and shot at.
Where'd he shoot her at?
I don't know.
Rob agreed, which would soon become increasingly rare.
Where did he shoot Layla?
Say it increasingly rare. Rob probably still trying to distance himself from the situation. I think the 16-year-old Taj did it. I don't think that it was amongst all 3 of them. I think one person just went ziggity boom and decided to take their lives. He could have just robbed them if that was the case. You know, for a pound if you wanted the weed or whatever. They had something you wanted. People always go to the extreme. You know, you ain't always got to go to murder someone. You know what I mean? These individuals still be alive if you just, even if you just shot them in the leg, the hand. You know, it's heartbreaking to hear the reaction to the parents when they get this information and come to their world kind of crumble when reality, you know, is delivered a blow like this, that your child is gone, someone you raised 17 years, you know, having a child, that's unconditional love. You love them unconditionally, you know, just like the mom right with this job, you know, she loved her son unconditionally. It's them even being charged with the murder, you know, they mother, their guardians love them unconditionally, and vice versa on the other end. You know, the Layla, you know, her grandparents didn't agree with her friends, but I'm pretty sure she loved them unconditionally. So they kind of put up, you know, they don't put up with it, but it's like you can't. It's a fight you really see yourself winning until the person starts to give in and starts to soak in, like, okay, these friends, they, you know, we all, it ain't like the friends are all bad influence. They all not, you know, contributing to being productive. So, you know, with idle time, that's the devil's playground. You know, you don't do nothing productive or do nothing to build yourself up, or, you know, make yourself self-aware, you know, educate yourself, do read, go to the gym, work on your body and your mind. You know, if you ain't doing that and building yourself up, and you just got idle time, the devil go sleep in. That's what he wants. You know what I mean? That's his playtime, to play with your mind and to bring all these, you know.
On the other hand, Taj put the blame back on his two companions.
I know he shot Sosa in the back of the head. I seen that happen. I seen Rob try to shoot her.
Hold on. Cause they showed bullets from like a 38 long. Them was long bullets that they showed. But now this clip right here, this is an AR clip. So those two different calibers and it's two different type of guns. And for him to jump in with an AR, they all would have noticed it. It would definitely put me on alert, you know, and especially an individual jumping in a vehicle I'm in all black. I ain't finna stand for that. I ain't going for that, you know. Nah, not for a second.
Right. And when he tried to shoot her, he shot her, and then his gun didn't go off, so he reloaded it again and shot her.
All contradictions temporarily aside, Chris added another disturbing detail.
Did he see it coming?
No, it was like to the back of his head.
Okay. Did he have any time to defend himself?
No, but Taj just upped and shot him in the head.
At this point, police were still searching Forest Lakes Park for evidence. Now that they knew the shooting had occurred in Layla's car, it was more important than ever to find the vehicle.
Yeah.
Most of all, though, they were looking for any sign of Camille. They hoped to find her alive, but the police were likely aware that, like Layla, she could be seriously injured and in need of medical attention.
Like
if that was the
right
case, every passing moment decreased her chance of survival. For the time being, though, her family was left in an exhausting state of limbo. The situation was made infinitely worse by rumors that Camille had been caught up in the shooting. Frustratingly, the police still had no concrete answers for her family. They had to hope that Chris, Rob, and Taj would ultimately provide an explanation. They got even closer when Chris continued with more of the story, but once again, the details started to get shaky.
Was the car driving whenever they got shot?
No, it was just like it stopped and then like it kept going. Like when I hopped out the car, it kept going.
Where did the car keep going when it kept going?
Like to a dumpster.
Did you get back in the car?
Yeah, I got back.
I mean, did you want to get back in the car or did you not? No, you didn't want to. Okay, what made you get back in that car? Explain to me that.
Because he had a gun, I thought he was going to get shoot at me. Because if I was just with him and if I was just with him, he just killed somebody, and he probably would kill me too. Because he think I was Smith.
On the contrary, Rob said that he was the one who jumped out of the car.
When he shot Layla, I got out the car because the blood started dripping. I ain't wanted to get on me.
Taj claimed the same thing.
I get out of the car, they still shooting because it was like four.
What the hell? Everybody getting out the car. But I think 3-5 was actually the only one that got out the car. And I think they made it clear. Well, the detectives by the account that, I don't know, you know, how did they know? They weren't there. But I'm pretty sure that 3-5 was the one that actually got out the car while the other one stayed.
6 shots. I don't know exactly how many shots it was, but it was a couple shots, bro. So at this point, we hear this lady. This lady's over there like, I'm running. I'm trying to hide in the forest. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm trying to call spring everything. So this lady, hey, what's going on over there? He sees me, or I guess he run back over there. Or I run over him. And he was like, hey, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, I'm just do what you tell me to do. I just want to go home. So
the only thing that this established was that at least one of the boys had gotten out of the car. But this wasn't news, as the woman who saw the car hit the dumpster also told police that she saw a male figure running around shortly after she heard gunshots and saw the crash. The detectives decided not to challenge the boys on this front for now, and pushed for the truth on more important matters instead. They started with Rob.
What happened to Layla? Where did they...
I don't know. Taj threw Layla out out the car and hopped in the driver's seat and started driving.
Rob said Taj repeated the process a short time later.
Taj pulled body out the car, patted him down. The mechanic, he grabbed the mechanic, got back in the driver's seat, and he drove off.
Grabbed what? The cannon. What did he say he grabbed?
A short time later.
Taj pulled body out the car, patted him down. The mechanic, he grabbed the mechanic, got back in the driver's seat, and he drove off.
Was that next to Layla where she was pulled out?
No, it was in a different spot.
This made sense to police because the second crime scene, where Michael's body was found, didn't have much blood. There were, however, what appeared to be drag marks leading from the road towards the brush where the body lay.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Did you help take? I ain't touch nobody. I ain't touch a body. I ain't touch nothing.
Ross and shit. I ain't nothing. God damn it, I ain't touched nothing. So he should have made a deal with prosecutors too, instead of just 3-5. I wonder why he didn't. Why he didn't make a deal.
I swear to God, I ain't touched nothing. Once they was dead, I said, "Take me home, man. Take me home."
Yet Taj said that wasn't how it happened.
Rob drives. He pulled Layla out of the car. That's why she got left by the dumpster.
I don't believe
He started driving. He's driving. We go around the corner. He goes over to Sosa. Sosa had, I think, in his somewhere on him. So he pulled Sosa out of the car. He just dragged him over in some woods.
And were you driving the car?
No, I was not driving the car. Yeah.
The detectives asked Chris similar questions.
Did you pull her out of the car?
What is Rob doing during all this?
He was saying that.
What's he saying?
He was like, oh, he was like, go.
And what happened next?
And we drove all the way out there in Oklahoma. And he tried to put the thing in the river, but I think got stuck or something.
What thing are you talking about? The car. Okay.
Once again, the detectives already had information that would let them know if one of the boys was lying. The search of Forest Lakes Park had finally paid off, leading police to another grisly and tragic discovery.
The pistol?
Taj picked up the story again to tell his version of what they did with Layla's car.
We get over here to this lake. It's dark as hell. 3-5 get out of the car. He got out of the car. Rob tells him, "Hey, start wiping everything down." So he started wiping everything down. He's wiping everything down. The door handles everything. He's wiping everything down. So after he started wiping everything down, Rob takes Layla's phone and Sosa's phone or whoever phones he found in that bit, threw him in the lake, throw him in the lake.
The lake in question turned out to be 5.5 miles or 8.8 kilometers outside Forest Lakes Park. But police had no question that this was the scene they were looking for. When they dredged the lake, they recovered the 2 phones from the water, which were determined to be Michael and Layla's. But this wasn't the only evidence they found. Taj attempted to explain what was found as he continued his story, starring Rob as the mastermind of the crime.
He tells 3-5, get in the car, drive the car into the lake, for whatever reason.
When the detectives asked Chris, though, he said he was nowhere near the car at that point.
Were you in the car when it was going in the river, or?
I was out. I was trying to run back to my house.
You were out of the car. What was Rob doing?
I don't know. I left. I was running back to my house.
What did he say he did with the car after that?
I didn't ask all of that. I didn't ask that.
What about the guns that were used?
I don't know where those at either.
Oh, it's barely in the lake. Like when he drive, it might be the 2 front tires in the lake. It might be a little bit more in the hood, but the back of the car, all that is still out of the lake.
That was exactly how the police discovered the car. What they found inside was more gruesome than they had ever anticipated. Back with Chris, he continued.
Man, this is just, oh my God, this is just so, boy, it's amazing how one night could turn someone's life upside down for life sentences to murder. Life sentences to being murdered, like gone, your life's clock stopped. It's
You his
It's
tail.
terrible right here.
Describe to me the clothes that you were wearing that night when all these bad things happened. What happened to them?
They wanted us to burn.
Who wanted you to burn them? Did you have blood or something on them?
I don't know.
Are you sure?
I don't think so.
Like Detective Pender said, we processed that car front to back, top to bottom, bottom to top 3 times. 3 days worth of actual forensic work, several forensic people. I don't think you could have sat anywhere in that car and not got blood on you.
I think it was something about shoe.
I'm standing over here scared as like I think it's blood all over me, but it's dark, so I don't know. But I think it's blood all over me.
Rob said burning the clothes was all Taj. Taj, of course, said it was Rob. Regardless of who had the idea, the police found the remains of clothing in a burn pile in the forest, including pieces of shoes, sweatpants, and sweatshirts. However,
they run back naked. How, if they're gonna burn the clothes right there on the site, how did you
This was not the only clothing item the police discovered intact. Chris's shoes, which he described as Nike slides, were found discarded in the bushes, and a single glove was found near Michael's body.
Chris is 3'5".
Another was found near the lake. The police asked Taj about this.
So were you wearing gloves at this time? Like
Yes, I was wearing gloves because, like I said, I was supposed to go hit.
And what about Rob?
Rob was wearing gloves too. Yeah, Rob was wearing gloves.
Taj revealed that the original plan was for the group to go car hopping that night, which was why he was wearing gloves and a ski mask. But police had to wonder if there was a far darker reason the boys brought these items. For now, the detectives wrapped up.
They lied to them, told them they was going to do some burglaries, but really, they were the targets. That's what I'm getting from the situation. They told Layla and Sosa that they was gonna go and do, some burglaries or whatever, but actually they were the target, intended
The
targets.
conversation with Rob.
Do you feel a little better now that you were honest? Did you need to get that off your chest?
He said, I feel worse.
I feel like I just snitched on everybody.
The detective stepped out, but little did Rob know that his night at the police station was far from over.
He said, I feel worse.
That he needed to face up to.
Man, he said, I feel worse. I feel worse. I snitched on everybody.
The detectives wrapped up the conversation with Rob.
Do you feel a little better now?
Listen to, I feel worse.
Did you need to get that off
I feel
your chest?
worse.
Now I feel like I just snitched on everybody.
The detective stepped out.
I want to
but
hear what else
little
he
did
had to
Rob
say
know
right
that
there.
his night at the police station was far from over. There was a lot more that he needed to fess up to, but for now, he was left alone with his mother.
Charge you. Because you were there and you didn't come forward. You didn't come forward. I'm talking about when it happened.
I just talked about everything.
I'm just letting you know, or you don't
I'm
understand.
gonna get charged for murder. No,
I don't know.
snitching on everybody. If I was gonna get charged, why did you make me stay?
I said I don't know.
We're gonna ask you to step out now.
They're quietly giving out $5,800 spending cards.
Lady and Jan.
Who act fast. Will you be one of them? The Gov owes you $58.
I know what she's saying. She's saying that if you ain't really had nothing to do with it, as soon as the act happened, but that's how it is though. That's how the law is. If you know a crime and you don't come forward, like right, even if you in the crime and you feel threatened, if they have to go and figure it out or go, figure out that you were there and come get you, oh no, ain't no way you're not being charged because you had knowledge of this crime and you didn't report it. You have to report that crime.
Hey,
in real
Mama.
time.
Wait, hey, is my mama still here?
Yeah, she's still
Wait, Mama.
Talk to me.
Okay,
She's talking with someone.
can you see if they do charge me? Can you see if she can give me a lawyer? I didn't kill anybody.
Relax.
Can you ask her, please?
Rob waited, asking the detective stationed at the door several times to bring his mother back. But she had left to go back to work. Before she did, she informed police that she did not want Rob answering any more questions without a lawyer present. Rob was not on board with this plan.
Is my mama still here? How can I get charged for murder?
Listen.
Can you explain it to me?
How they gonna do? Keep questioning them if she said that she don't want them questioned. That don't make sense. because he's a minor, so they shouldn't, even if he given free will to.
We're taking the DNA, okay?
While the police took Rob's DNA, fingerprints, and photos, he continued to ask them how it was possible that he would be charged with murder.
Listen, can I tell you the situation, please?
Listen, let them do their thing. Your mama's not here yet. We can't talk to you.
She's close?
I don't know how far she got, but she is on her way.
Rob's interrogation might have been on pause, but the conversation with Chris remained in full swing. The questions he faced were about to get a whole lot harder.
They executed a search warrant on the house, which they did collect some things, and I'd like to talk to you about those things too. But because you, because it was like a surprise on that.
Yeah, like what was in my house that got to do with this homicide? And
I will, and I'm going to tell you about that because, like I said, I'm not going to leave anything out.
It's I can tell you, it's pretty damning. I guess I would use that word.
So, serious?
Do you own any firearms, ma'am? Does anyone in your home own a firearm? Okay, because I'm pretty sure they found one or two firearms in the house.
3-5. Oh man, it just gets better and better and better. 3-5. What are you doing with the guns? I think they playing 3-5. They use 3-5.
And I'm sure you guys have watched CSI, right? We can take a firearm, we can shoot it. That round that you shoot, we can take. And we can put it into a computer
and tell you who got
and actually compare it to other fired casings, like the shell from the bullet. So, how?
You told me who the guns from.
How would you hold guns from when you know something that dumb just happened? That was stupid.
When Reaper gave you these, you think that they're going to be related to this?
I think.
Describe to me why you think that.
Because he said, put these up, make sure you want to go find.
And the gun that you saw X-Man use.
Yeah, was it one of those? You should know that.
Meanwhile, Rob continued to wait. Eventually, the detectives did come back to speak with him, since he was insistent on saying more, even though his mother did not return to the station.
Alright, so...
I knew they was going to do that.
I explained to you what your mom said on the phone.
I knew that.
She didn't want us to ask you any more questions about a lawyer presence. You reapproached me a couple times, and you said that you wanted to discuss some stuff further, right? I just want to make sure that we're clear that you don't have to answer our question. You don't have to talk to us at this point. But you've stated to me that it's my case. I want to talk to you.
Because Rob's mom was no longer present, they read him his Miranda rights again. Right off the bat, he admitted to additional involvement.
Taj told me to help him pull the body out of the trunk and throw it in the lake. He grabs it. He's trying to pull a leg. He was like, "Bro, it's heavy. I need help." So I grabbed one leg, I tried to help. I was like, "Man, it's too heavy, I don't want to do this." Put the thing down, left the girl in the trunk. Because I told him I didn't want to help him. Like,
Rob went on to tell a long, rambling tale about selling his gun the day before the crimes took place. The detectives hear him out before dropping a bombshell.
So that's an issue, because we have that gun now. It was at 3-5's house. You said you sold it.
I did. That's not my gun. That one's not mine. That's not my gun.
In addition to this, the police strongly suspected Rob had stolen the firearm.
You lied to the truth that you didn't pull a trigger, but you knew this was going to happen. You knew it was going to happen.
That's his gun. That's his gun. So he lied. Damn, I was believing him too.
I did not know this.
The detectives had a similar exchange with Taj.
We've sent some of the casings off to be examined already. It's not back, I'll tell you that. Otherwise, we would probably be having this conversation. That those casings aren't going to come back, like he said, to a third gun.
To a third gun, they shouldn't.
Multiple casings were found at all 3 crime scenes, but especially near the car at the lake. Even if the boys weren't budging on the issue of who shot who, Lab tests would reveal the truth in due time. In the meantime, the detectives brought up something two of the boys in particular were probably dreading.
Let's talk about the trunk. Trunk of that car.
Looking at the trunk. Yeah.
There's another part that we haven't talked about.
A question we get all the time is how do you do culinary school online? And the way we do it is by focusing on technique. Taste and flavor is very subjective. Technique is not. What we also do is teach you.
Trunk. It was a girl in the trunk. And he told me to open the trunk, and he shot her.
Where did he tell you to open the trunk from?
He told me to open the trunk from the inside, like the inside.
Okay.
And whenever you pulled that open, tell me about what you saw in there.
All I seen was luggage, and then he said move, and he shot.
Okay. You said all you saw was luggage?
Luggage and like it was like a girl.
And what part of her body could you see? Could you see her feet, or her hair, her hand? Describing
I
what.
seen hair.
I did not even know it was another person in the trunk at all.
Okay, so you just riding around and she just in there?
Yeah, I mean, we rode around like that before, though.
Just because there ain't no room for all the people?
Just because there ain't no room for all the people.
When you go to open up that
What type of shit is
what were you
that?
thinking in your head?
What type of shit is that? I'm not riding in no fucking. What's up with this girl? You gonna ride in the trunk? Is it dark in? What the fuck? That's man. This generation is fucking cooked, man. Roll in the trunk. Was she sleep in the motherfucker or something? That's crazy. That is fucking.
Like, what am I gonna do? I don't know. Like, I was confused. I was like, yo, like, I was thinking like there was a person back.
Did this person say something? Describe to me what you heard whenever you opened that seat up. What noises?
All I heard was somebody tell me to watch out, and I heard gunshot. 2 gunshots.
Tragically, the third victim was determined to be none other than Camille. Her body was discovered 2 days after Layla was found on April 1st. Like Chris said, she'd been shot twice. The location of her wounds indicated that her death had been no accident. It was highly unlikely that Camille had been shot once in the back and once in the head by chance. As soon as she was identified, law enforcement made contact with her aunt, Amy, for a difficult conversation.
So you probably know why we're here, where we've been investigating the incident that happened Friday involving Layla and the other individual that was found deceased.
You know, it took us a little while because we couldn't positively identify her, so it took us a little while. But, you know, we're certain that it's Camille that is now deceased.
Probably to detectives' surprise, Amy remained stoic. As it turned out, she already knew Camille was deceased.
The grandpa of Layla actually came to my house when I found your card, telling me that Camille was deceased and how are you doing is what he told me. They were talking about it at the hospital that Camille was deceased already. I had a mother call me at midnight last night that my son.
Yeah, how you know that though? But see, he probably said that because the grandfather know Camille was with them. Camille stays with Layla, so he knew how inseparable they was, and he just put it together like there's somebody in the trunk they ain't identified, because they probably told him that somebody was in the trunk and they just didn't know who it was yet.
Phone has not stopped.
While Amy tried to come to terms with the loss of her niece, the detectives at the police station asked Chris more about the specifics of Camille's murder.
What happened after he shot her?
He closed it, and we left.
How many times did he shoot her?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna.
I think once, twice.
What is it? One
twice.
Twice? Okay. Do you know what part of her body he shot her?
No, when I opened it, he go empty, so I looked away.
As if this wasn't horrific enough, Taj put forth an even more disturbing version of events. Predictably, he insisted he was not the shooter. The culprit he named was spine-chilling.
Who folds the seat down?
3-5, because he was on the side, so he hops out of the car, right? He get out of the car, flip the seat down, boom, hit her once. So he shot her.
Where did he shoot her?
Oh, I don't know. I couldn't see exactly where he shot her at all. And then she's not dead yet. So Rob sees that and he shoots her to make sure she's dead. So Layla got one headshot and then Camille got two because she wasn't dead yet.
For once, Rob agreed with Taj, at least partially. Before his mom left the
He gonna
police,
say it was this Taj, though. They did it. Bro, this story is wild. This is a wild one right here.
he told this
These
to the police.
teens, remember, these are teenagers. He is 17, Rob is 17. 3-5. Right here. 3-5 right here down in this corner. One that's in, and Layla is a teen.
It was 3-5 that did that. 3-5 dropped
3-5 is
shot the
12.
girl and he shot her in the head. And then Taj like, shoot the in the back, shoot the back. 3-5 dropped the back seat and he shot the girl. She was still alive. He's like, finish her. So he shot her again.
3-5, police knew, was Chris's street name. Still, something wasn't quite right.
Now, he hasn't said, and they hasn't dropped a bomb in front of his mom's. This is what I've been waiting on. Because they said this in the very beginning of the case, that 3-5 shot this girl in the trunk. But they saying that they told him to do it. Like Taj told him to do it, or they gonna kill his family. Let's hear this.
After getting this far, the police were not willing to accept anything short of the full truth.
Now, Reaper, Rob, there's a lot of similarities that are overlapping here, but there's definitely a discrepancy that Rob told us about what happened to the person in the trunk.
And they trying to make him the shooter, right? Yeah, that's what y'all leaving out. I mean, be honest. We being all being honest here. Just be honest. Is he the shooter? That's what they're saying. That's all you gotta do. That's all you gotta do is just say that. I mean, stop going around it.
I can tell you that he is not. You, Chris, are not being blamed for those people in the front seat.
In the back seat is what the trunk is the one that
we have some issues with the trunk.
I'm gonna keep it real about it.
Tell us. Be honest, baby. It's okay.
Because you're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel so much better. You're gonna feel so much better once you talk about what
He's tell me. Say it. Just say it.
He said, if I ain't do it, you gonna kill everybody I know.
So tell us what you did.
He said, AJ, you gonna kill everybody I know.
Yeah. Who made you do it? Who is it?
Rob.
Rob made you do it?
Yeah.
He said he gonna kill everybody you know. Well, who is the X-Man?
I don't know who that is.
Now, did you...
Just calm down.
Yet again, Rob said something different.
Who is the X-Man?
I don't know who that is.
Who is it? Say it. Just say it.
How you be looking at his mom's reaction the whole time.
I know.
Not just then, right here, but look how he always.
He said, AJ, you gonna kill everybody I know.
Yeah. Who made you do
I'm
it?
gonna say this is crazy.
Who is it?
Rob.
Rob made you do it?
Yeah.
He said he gonna kill.
She kind of said like she know Rob, like she didn't seen him, because obviously she hasn't seen Taj, because he don't even know who Taj is.
Everybody you know. Well, who is the X-Man?
I don't know who that is.
Now, did you...
Just calm down.
Yet again, Rob said something different. Before his mom left the station,
That is.
Now, did you...
Just calm down.
His mom reaction when he said my life is wrong. She know it too. Her
Rob
legs,
made
her
you
feet
do it?
shaking.
Yeah.
Watch after this.
He said he gonna kill everybody you know. Well, who is the X-Man?
I don't know who that is.
Now, did you...
Just calm down.
yet again, Rob said something different. Before his mom left the station, he had shared this information.
Taj made him kill the person, or he was gonna kill 3-5.
Is that what he said? He told
He told 3-5, if you don't kill this girl, I'm gonna shoot you in your head.
Let's go on here. He said that he would kill everybody you know, and he did fire a gun. Tell me about what you did.
I think I shot the gun. I don't know where it was, but
he came up and shot her too.
Okay.
Who's it?
Rob.
Okay. So when you shot her, what gun did you use when you shot her?
The ex-dude gave me the Scott.
If Chris used Taj's firearm, that would explain why they only found 2 weapons during the search warrant.
Why do so many people find it hard to break out of financial stress and build true wealth? See, so many of us look like this guy when we really want to look.
This brought up another question, though, which the detectives had addressed with Rob and his mom.
So that's my concern here is that
This now is really sketchy about the Trump thing. There's a lot of discrepancy. So it's obviously he's saying Taj, but Chris saying it's him and Rob. But I want to say Taj said Rob or something. So I wish we can go back to Taj and see what he had to say about
he
this.
said that Taj was pretty much orchestrated this and was concerned that 3-5 would snitch on him. So he made him
3-5 do that.
But you saying that he was completely fine with you not taking any part of that?
Yes, with me, he just told me, if you snitch, I'm gonna kill you.
With his mom there, Rob insisted that he was innocent. Now that she was gone, though, the police hoped he might be more forthcoming.
I honestly don't think you're a cold-blooded killer. I know Taj, I've dealt with him, and I've dealt with you. And there's a reason I wanted to talk to you. Because I don't think you're that dude. I don't think you're a cold-blooded killer. Taj, I don't know anything about 3-5. I've never met him. But I'm telling you that when the evidence says that you were there and that you shot someone, there is no explaining that.
Evidence is gonna tell you that I'm there, but all I can tell you is that I didn't shoot nobody.
Did you shoot Layla? No. Because I got information that somebody that was in their car had a thing for Layla, and you couldn't do it. So somebody else did it.
No.
Okay?
That's not true.
Your brother talking.
Mm.
Is there any reason?
What you mean his brother? Who was his brother? Is he just calling them brothers because they friends, and you know how they throw that around. Females hang with a girl, they call her a sister. Guys hang with other guys, they call them bro. My brother.
Why he would be telling you that you shot one of those people if you didn't do it.
Police likely used this as a tactic to get Rob to talk and hopefully reveal the truth. Perhaps this was how Amy knew Camille was deceased before the detectives contacted her. In Chris's interrogation room, his mother struggled to come to terms with what he'd done.
You shot somebody that's dead. Boy, what the No, this is a homicide. This is 3 people. This is that's serious.
You gonna kill my family. What I supposed to do? That's why.
I understand. That's what we were trying to tell you from the beginning.
Chris, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Now listen to me. When you say that someone threatens your family and threatens you, I need to put it in the report. Take a deep breath.
Please tell me, what am I supposed to do?
Chris's mom didn't have an answer to that. She asked one of the detectives if she could step out for a moment to compose herself.
You know where I live, and he knows my whole family. He was gonna kill my whole
family. Are you talking about Reaper, or are you talking about Stavo?
Reaper. He was gonna kill my.
Let's talk about X-Men real quick. I think you know who X is, and I think you're scared of him, rightfully so.
They both said it was gonna kill my family.
Okay.
They both said that? Did they ever point a gun at you or anything like that?
Yeah.
Who pointed a gun at you?
X-Men. He's like, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. Kill you down. Kill your mom.
Rob also told the detectives that he and Chris were in serious danger
Yeah,
at the time of the crime.
Let me tell you something about Taj. Taj tell you he's finna do something.
Ah.
If you decide not to do it with him, then I probably would have died with him.
So were you afraid?
Nigga, I'm finna fuck you up.
If I did not do what Taj wanted me to do, I would have died that night with them.
Taj is that bad a dude?
Bro,
Taj, on the other hand, claimed Rob always planned to let him take the blame.
If anything, if one of us go down in anything, and Taj, it was you. You did it. Everything. You did it. Legit. You shot everybody in the car. It was not me. If he got caught up, then then he was gonna go find my mama. The whole night I did not have a gun.
Rob continued with his story, claiming that he only participated out of fear.
Did Taj tell you to put the gun to somebody?
Taj told me.
Why you looking like that? What?
He told me he gonna kill Sosa. He wanted me to shoot Layla, and then he wanted 3-5 to shoot the girl in the back. I told him I didn't want to do it. He told me if I didn't do it, he was gonna kill me.
You hold the gun to her Layla's head?
Yeah, but I tried to shoot it, but it clicked. I tried to shoot it, but it clicked. Like I didn't have it cocked back. I tried to shoot it and it clicked twice, so then Stavo just did it himself. That's why. I think my gun wasn't coming back.
Listen.
I'm telling y'all the truth, and y'all still think I'm lying. Like, what I'm supposed to do, bro?
Okay.
So how long before he actually pointed the gun, he told you to shoot Layla?
We was already in the car. Like, he put it in his notes, showed me, and then deleted the note.
When was that in the night?
No, not that. No, let it go.
That was like
let go.
Right before it happened.
Did you shoot that girl in the trunk?
In the trunk?
No, I need this.
Like I said, I wasn't there.
What do you have to think about it?
I shot that girl in the trunk.
Still, the police suspected something was being left out.
Was she still moving after you shot her?
He said she was still breathing or something.
Who said that, X-Man or Rob?
Did you shoot the girl once or did you shoot her twice? I mean, it doesn't matter at this point.
I shot her once, and he shot her again.
Chris was talking about Rob. Thankfully, the police were finally getting somewhere with him, too.
You shot her once.
How many times you shoot her?
Once.
You shot her once? Where'd you shoot her? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you
no
do.
question.
You shot her in the head.
No question where she was shot. You talk about one end to the other. Where'd you shoot her?
Just shot, bro. I seen her and I shot.
Why?
Because she was still alive. She was gonna snitch on us all. We was all gonna go to jail for life. I didn't want to do none of it. If I didn't kill that girl, Stavo was going to kill me. I swear to God. I'm looking at her in her eyes. She's dead.
Finally, the truth came out.
Here's how to never have to worry about money after a car accident. Listen, if you have been in a car accident in the past year, even as a passenger, you could be owed a significant cash payout. Insurance companies do not want you to know this and don't want you to find out what your accident is truly worth, so they can send you a low offer, hoping you accept it just to be done with the hassle. Within a few clicks, you could find out what your
Ballistics reports comparing shell cases found it.
Oh man, it jumped all the way back to the beginning.
What is it? One twice. Twice? Okay. Do you know where? What did you do it?
That's why
that's what we were trying to tell you.
His house indicated a match.
He actually pointed the gun. He told you to shoot Layla.
We was already in the car. Like, he put it in his notes, showed me, and then deleted it. 3-5 shot that girl.
You shoot her.
Okay.
Finally, the truth came out. Ballistics reports comparing shell cases found at the scene to the firearms found in Chris's house indicated a match. Whether or not there was a third shooter remained to be seen.
I did not want it to happen. I never wanted that to happen. Like, I never wanted to kill anybody. I never wanted to shoot anybody. I never want any of that. I just wanted to get a little bit of money.
The detectives made one last effort with Taj.
People are already educated because of you guys' craziness.
No, not my craziness. It's not my craziness.
Were you going to rob them and they
Take your chains.
Either you had to do what you had to do,
Take
or
your
a
chains.
finger slipped and it scared everybody in the car, and then it's too late at that point.
Yeah, I feel you, but
that makes more sense than the story that they're telling, that you planned to kill these people. That from the beginning of the night.
I didn't shoot no gun.
Gotta do
We
this.
talked to Rob and we talked to Chris for hours. For whatever reason, one of them was more afraid of bringing you into the middle of this than they were Rob. So for that story that Rob's this guy that's, you know, threatening everybody, or his people threatening people, or your people, I just don't see that.
But Taj remained stalwart, insisting that he had never used a firearm that night. The detectives hoped that unpacking one final secret could be the key to determining the truth about his involvement. They turned back to Rob to accomplish this.
Chill. If you chill, I'm gonna take you. Now they showing the trunk. I wonder how they gonna establish this with this trunk, because they keep showing this trunk. We got 4 minutes. I'm done. With this video.
Like Chris and his mom, Rob was also given a jacket to keep warm in the cold police station. But he used it in a less typical way. Even as he tried to get comfortable in the interrogation room, one of the detectives returned to unpack a final secret to try to pull the case together.
They got another
KTM, what
video.
exactly, what is it that you guys do? What is it?
ATM.
Like a game?
No.
Oh, KTM.
First time we did something for it.
So how many people like consider themselves a part of KTM?
Rob's list went on, but he only had nicknames for most of the KTM members, not their real names. Notably, Michael, Layla, and Camille were not included.
I was the leader of.
Chris was somehow even less willing to give up the details of KTM.
What's the deal with the KTM thing? Huh? I know Reaper has the tattoo. What does it mean? Cutthroat? Cutthroat mentality? Does that sound right? What exactly is that? Like just a made-up gang name, or?
One of Michael's close friends eventually came forward, provided the police would keep his identity anonymous, and confirmed that KTM was indeed a gang. His description of their activities was chilling.
Their mentality is a mentality that they'll do anything to you and not get it.
Just to get the money?
Yes, just to get the money. Just to get what they want, basically.
With that, the detectives had all the information they needed to move forward with the case. It had taken 8 hours each to get.
They got 15. They just showed $15 right there. So it was interrogation for 8 hours.
The truth from Rob and Chris. The detectives stepped out, leaving Ashley and Chris alone for a few moments.
Listen, baby, listen. It's not over.
Yes, it is.
It's not over. It's not over.
Life is over. I mean, you breathing, your existence is not over, but for as your life as a free man, it's over. You know what I mean? That's it. I'm steady drinking.
You just better pray and hope that the gun that you shot her with wasn't murder.
Ashley also had some devastating.
What'd she say?
It's not over. You just better pray and hope that the gun that you shot her with wasn't murder.
Ashley also had some devastating news to deliver that was sure to upset him further.
I'm gonna go to jail. So I'm gonna leave it top. That's I got one. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna be trying to figure out something. I'm gonna try to get out of this. When I get out of here, I'm trying to get you home.
Ashley had a warrant out for her arrest, and in order to be with her son while he was interrogated,
she had to
turned herself in to police.
Oh, shit.
She was charged with possession of cocaine and methamphetamine and taken to county jail. Chris, Rob, and Taj were all taken to juvenile detention, and on May 15, 2023, a grand jury indicted all 3 boys. Preparation. Chris, Rob, and Taj,
so Mama was
interrogated, turned herself in to police. She was charged with possession of cocaine and methamphetamine and taken to county jail. Chris, Rob, and Taj were all taken to juvenile detention, and on May 15, 2023, a grand jury indicted all 3 boys. Preparations began to take the case to trial, where they will be tried as adults. Taj and Rob are both facing 3 counts of murder in the first degree because, tragically, Layla did not survive her injuries. She passed away just days after Camille's body was discovered. Taj also has been charged with robbery with a firearm, tampering with evidence, tampering with an electronic monitoring device, carjacking while armed, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and grand theft auto. Rob had a similarly long list of charges in addition to 3 counts of murder, including armed burglary, grand theft of a firearm, petty theft, robbery with a firearm, and tampering with evidence. Chris, meanwhile, was only charged with 1 count of murder for Camille, whom he admitted to shooting while she was in the trunk.
What about the other?
He
was there for the other
against him
murders.
were dropped, including grand theft of a firearm and burglary. However, he's now facing an additional charge of battery after getting into a fight while incarcerated.
Man, that's weak.
Currently, all 3 boys have entered pleas of not guilty, but the trial is ongoing. What the court finds and how justice will be served for Layla, Michael.
Oh, this is crazy. Crazy. I'm talking about this is some crazy feat.
And Camille remains to be seen.
Alright, man, I'm gonna get with y'all. We definitely this got another video right here. Let me pull it up right here. That mug is 3 hours long if you look at it right there. With him with his arms flailed out like that, that's Rob. But this is, man. And this video we just did, that one was an hour. Took us 2 hours to do it. But man, this is one of this. I seen this when I had to watch it. Like 3 teens murdered 3 other teens over a pound of weed and I guess a few dollars, $15. And they ain't even show that they got the weed. It don't matter. Murder's not worth that. Murder ain't even worth 100 pounds. But I gotta take my buddy outside, so I'm gonna get with y'all, you know what I mean? Fed him a healthy breakfast this morning. Ate all this kibble bits and chicken breast. Then on top of that, I cut up some fajita meat, that's chicken, and all the trimmings, you know, the fat from that and whatever. Gave him that too, so he had a healthy breakfast. I gotta take him outside, and I gotta go to the store, get me some tortillas, and cook this meal. Yeah, it's almost 12, so I'm definitely finna get into that. But hey man, I'll get with y'all later on, man. This was definitely a interesting one to watch. It's a wicked world out there. Teach your child awareness, and man, teach y'all kids some other outlet than want to be in a gang and do, you know, and steal and rob and kill and, you know, invade other people's property. It gotta be a better way, man. But hey, the life, I mean, this generation, it's like this world is going to hell. You know, it's just where you gonna be seated when it crash.